Hi, my name's Bill Heipp with Honey Luv Farm here in Wausau, Wisconsin. What's the story? How did I get into beekeeping? I can honestly say it was because of a sip of mead. Mead is wine that is fermented using honey instead of grapes. And we were down and had a weekend down at my brother's in Illinois, and he had previously made some mead, and my fiance took a sip of it and really liked it. And about 3 days after we got back to Wisconsin, she goes, you know, maybe we should get some bees. And I said, you just want to make honey and mead, right? And she goes, yep. So that's how we got into bees, a sip of mead. Oh, okay, I described this to you once already. I don't know if I can use the same phrasing. All right, how does it feel to be stung? For those of you who have not been stung by a honeybee, and some people equate it to a shot, they lie to you. You get stung, the first thing you feel is this hot, burning sensation. That's like, holy mackerel, does that hurt? And then it kind of dies down, but it still burns for a while, and then gradually goes away. It goes away. It's a blast. Anybody, it's kind of like jumping out of an airplane. You know, how do you describe what it is until you've actually done it? But if you want to know about it, talk to a beekeeper. They're more than happy to bring you out, show you what's going on, explain what their passion is about it, why we're all so crazy. So enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Zoom if you can and catch that. That's what's called orientation flights. Those are the bees learning how to fly and learning the neighborhood. To protect our yards from bears, otherwise they will destroy everything. We try and put these little flags of foil on it, coat it with like peanut butter. The idea is to get the bear to lick it or sniff it, and then they get tagged by a jolt of electricity through their little nose or their tongue. Soft spots on them. But without these, we don't do beekeeping here. That's a solar fencer. Got a battery and then a solar panel that charges it up every day. This is a full-size hive, standard. The ones in the middle with the multicolored stripes is something new I'm trying this year. That's what's called a double nuke. A nuke is a baby hive, or a nuke stands for nucleus hive. Its nuke is short for nucleus hive. The sure sign of fall. At the fall, the workers kick all the drones out of the hive. All the guys are ejected from the pool. To see, what I would have liked to have seen is this whole thing just covered. Just solid bees. So what we're going to do is just give them a puff of smoke. I'm going to go in and see what's going on. Give them a little puff of smoke to calm them down. Alright, this is all older capped brood. This is the next generation that's just about to hatch. Here in these cells, this orangish, reddish, brown, all the way through here, going back up through this, that's all stored pollen. This is not a lot of brood right here. So, look at the other side, same basic thing. Not a very good frame, all in all. Next frame is just pollen, no brood. Got an arc of pollen here, a little bit over here, and then over that an arc of honey. They need the pollen and the honey to feed the brood. It's kind of hard with this many bees, but there's eggs in the bottom of all these cells, so she's been here. Just boiling and writhing with a mass of bees. That's a good hive. These are basically two hives in one. One side, and I'm going to split this differently. Here's another one. This year, well, most hives would like to swarm every year because that's their natural method of reproduction. Kind of like an amoeba, splits and becomes two, so does a beehive. About half of the field force, half of the nurse bees, half the drones, and the old queen leave the hive to establish a new location. But just before they leave, they've got several new queens ready to hatch. And then so the new queen and the remaining bees and all the brood in the stores, the honey and pollen, stay there to establish the new colony. Gives them an acre. Center of a tree is just, the trunk might have been this big, but it was this big in bees, or about that much. Just a huge swarm. Managed to collect that swarm. Decay means that it's going to get knocked out and that it's not strong enough to survive the winter. So you take your losses in the fall. Instead of investing a whole bunch of sugar and medications into a hive that's weak that most likely won't make it through the winter, you cut your losses now, and if there's frames of brood, you take the resources of that hive and you give it to another hive. If it's got frames of honey, you give it to a stronger hive. And that way the resources aren't wasted. And the bees you just knock out and knock them on the ground. The old field bees, the ones that are foragers, will try and return to where the hive was, but there's no hive there for them to go to. The nurse bees, who basically don't have an allegiance to a hive, you can transfer them over to a different hive and they'll be accepted. Or you knock them at the entrance to a different hive and they'll just walk into the new hive and the new hive will accept them. And that way you can boost up the strength of another hive using a weaker hive. a hive that has a C in front of it. That means I'm going to combine it with another hive. The plus means it gave me a good crop of honey, both earlier and just this last flow on the goldenrod. So I definitely want to keep them. They're a stronger hive, so they make good honey. I want to try and winter those hives.